record of 33-46, while the Padres are 42-36. The Padres are back tonight at 6:40. The Padres are minus 165 on the money line. Trevor Williams will be going for the Nationals, and Ryan Berger will be going for the Padres. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio, get an extra 5% off.
Check the clock.
What time is it?
It's high noon.
Big Rich TD are filling in on Thursday this week.
The boys.
Bad idea. Didn't know what I was thinking.
So it'll be Big Rich TD Sammy. You can watch it. It's going to be chaos, I'm sure.
Fletcher, we love you, but I just want to give you a heads up. It's probably not best that you listen to that show. Whenever there's a lull in the show, it's just going to be punching bag Fletcher.
Well, why don't you cry about it?
There's a reason they're only filling in one day. That's all Mary Ayala, program director, would allow them to fill
Yeah,
in.
we might get thrown off the air.
Just be ready with that dump button, man.
You cannot say filth, filth.
Our audience, our beautiful audience, they're used to cuss words. They're used to big boy words.
Yeah, it's not the audience I'm worried about. It is
The FCC. Now it's time to enter the Fletch zone.
Oh, no F-bombs dropped on the show today. That I can promise you. Ben, Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. And yeah, today is actually my last day before gallivanting off on a little week and a half adventure. My wife and I take it all over the state of California. Sammy, are you prepared for the next week and a half?
I am prepared. We're gonna miss you, buddy. But you're gonna be gallivanting, frolicking through the Lake Tahoe air.
So what's hilarious about the Lake Tahoe thing, I don't know if you've been watching the news or anything. Lake Tahoe got hit by the freakiest of freak storms of all time last weekend on Saturday. In the video that like Fox News and CNN and a bunch of different social media places are using to cover that storm is literally the dock that I'm going to be on Friday.
Really?
That is like where we hang out in Lake Tahoe. Yes. My uncle has a little condo, and that is the dock that he has access to. So the dock that has been used to show the horrors of what happened in Lake Tahoe over the last week is the dock that I will be sending you pictures of drinking what they call a Chambers Punch.
So yeah, what's on the docket? We're just drinking, just kicking it, having a good time.
We'll be out on the boat. We'll be going to some of my favorite old restaurants. I don't know. I lived in Tahoe for a summer when I was in college. And so this is kind of, my wife has never been to Lake Tahoe, so this is her first trip. So I'm going to kind of re-go through everything I went through that summer with my wife in about 3 days.
Okay.
And
nice.
then we're heading to San Luis Obispo, where we went to college, and we're heading to Merced, where I grew up. So we're going to be all over the state of California.
It's going to be like a romantic going back, seeing where you two fell in love.
I think so. Yeah, we got to take our dog to the campus so that our little fur baby can see everywhere. That we'll take him by the dorm that we met at. We'll take him by all our classrooms from college.
And they're just going to let you walk around the dorms?
Yeah, we'll walk around the campus with the dog. I don't see anything wrong with that.
I doubt you can get in the dorms. I highly doubt that.
I'll just crawl in through my old window.
Listen,
it's on the ground floor.
We while you're doing that, we have a whole list of guests coming through.
This is fun. So J Riff is going to be jumping on tomorrow.
Rifkin's tomorrow.
And then Big Rich and TD will be here on Thursday. J Riff again on Friday, along with Big Marsh on the mic. And then next week, it is a mix between Alan Sleewa, Jonathan Rifkin, and Coach Quintera. Do I have that right?
No. Rifkin's done this week. We have Frankie V on Monday.
Frankie V, that's the one I forgot.
And then we got Sleewa on Tuesday, Coach Quintera Wednesday, Thursday.
I'm going to listen to the majority of the coach shows, I think, because I'll be kind of doing nothing by that point. I'm going to listen to a little bit of Frankie V. I'm so curious to hear what 2 hours of Frankie V talking sports is going to sound like.
That's going to be a party on
You're going to talk about Drake a million times, I bet.
It's going to be a hybrid show.
All right, so we got plenty going on, and really the lead of today is 10-6. Padres lose last night, and they lose because three former Padres absolutely crushed the baseball yesterday. CJ Abrams, 3 hits, 3 runs. The left fielder, James Wood, he had a homer. He had 4 RBI on the night. Josh Bell had a home run, 3 ribby on the night. It was just former Padres in a battering line, just spanking the current Padres all up and down the field at Petco Park last night. Positives, Fernando Tatis Jr. hit another home run. Looks like he's starting to come back to form. Positives, the Nationals aren't really a team that you need to worry about. The negatives is you lost to a team that you don't need to worry about. And the Nationals are not on the same level as the Padres, but a bunch of former Padres came into Petco Park and kicked your ass. So you got to deal with that. And I don't know how you deal with it without bringing up the Juan Soto trade and the winners and the losers. And ultimately, I do think that's kind of a dumb conversation because I remember the day that the San Diego Padres got Juan Soto. In fact, this microphone that is right next to me in this studio is a microphone that Rich Orenberger broke the day that Juan Soto got traded to the San Diego Padres when the John Morosi tweet came out saying that it's official. And we were so excited here that Rich quite literally broke this microphone in half because that was the excitement. And I feel like that rang out through all of San Diego. Everybody had the same thoughts on it. You got a top 5 player in all of Major League Baseball, maybe a top 2 player to come over for a part of 2 separate World Series runs. Hindsight, it didn't work out. Look, Juan Soto had the hit that got you past the Dodgers in the postseason. His first year, it scored Jake Cronenworth. You can remember him coming across the finish line as he touched home plate. That was Juan Soto. Year 2 with Soto, it was a total meltdown. And is it Soto's fault? Is it Bob Melvin's fault? Is it AJ Preller's fault? Ultimately, who cares? It didn't work out with Juan Soto here in a Padres uniform. It might have worked out if James Wood and CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore were on this team right now. That's the frustrating part, but I don't think I'd trade it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's again, hindsight's 2020. It's easy. Obviously, if you could redo the trade, you wouldn't have done that. But
like, is James Wood going to be the best player in all of baseball?
James Wood's going to be he's one of the best hitters in baseball already. He's phenomenal. CJ Abrams is really solid, and Mackenzie Gore is a really nice pitcher. But again, revisionist history. I mean, you make that move, you get Juan Soto. The buzz in the city was electric when that happened. I remember the day as well. I mean, it was you had to make the move. It also, if you didn't make the move, AJ Preller's probably fired, and they find out that you could have got Juan Soto. So it's hard to crush anyone. It just ended up working out well for the Nationals. But last night, yeah, it's I mean, it's just
Josh Bell and James Wood are both in numbers like that.
That's where it was like it was a bad loss because you shouldn't be losing the Nationals, and by the guys that did it, knowing that they would have solved. I mean, if they were on this team right now, and again, hindsight 2020. But this team would be shooting up World Series odds and rankings right now. I don't know what's with the Padres losing the first game of each of the last 5 series. They lost to the Nationals, the Royals, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers. I don't know if it's a focus thing. I don't know if they just got to get their head right, where it's like, you come off, you lose on Friday the Royals, and they rebounded nicely on Saturday and Sunday, and you keep putting yourself in these spots. They're currently a half game back of a wild card spot. And it's not to really start looking at that stuff because the Padres have the Reds coming up who are right behind them. You got St. Louis, Milwaukee, and then San Fran and the Mets. But it's just all these little losses. We could be looking back at the end of the year going, why did they give up 10 runs on a Monday night at Petco to the Washington Nationals?
Now, my least favorite words in all of baseball, especially in June, are if the postseason started today. But I did hear John and Jim talking about that yesterday on my drive home from work, and they said if the postseason started today, the Padres would be a game out.
Well, yeah, it's not.
I did a little math this morning, Sammy, and if you take out that 14-3 start, there's 6 games under 500.
Well, yeah, and it feels like because what were they 50-50 last year after the first 100 games? So it was, and then they went on a tear. You'd prefer to not have to have your ball club have to go on a tear at the end of the season. I mean, you talk about like in a different sport. The Lakers had this a couple years ago. They went on an absolute tear the last 2 months of the season to get in. They get to the playoffs, they're gas. And baseball is a completely of this. You want your arms rested. You want everyone healthy. Considering how Texas bullpen is, ugly loss last night, and they better salvage it today and tomorrow because this is a bad series loss if they lose the Nationals.
All right, we're gonna hit a lightning round big 3 right now, and then we're gonna get to some NFL stories coming up next. But we'll get back to the Padres. Kevin Acee is gonna be jumping on at 1:30 today. We'll talk through everything that happened last night at Petco Park and everything that's to come over the next few days. But right now, it's time for the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
If you'd like to watch the show, we got a couple ways for you to do so. On X, at Fletch and Sammy. On YouTube, at San Diego Sports 760. And that's going to stay consistent over the next week and a half while I'm gone. But Sammy, where are we starting today?
All right, Aaron Rodgers telling the Pat McAfee show today this is probably his last year in the NFL. Do you have a problem with signing a guy for Pittsburgh who's already talking about before he's taking a single snap that he's not going to be playing next year?
You can hear the hate that Sammy has for Aaron Rodgers as he reads that. No, I don't have a problem with it for Pittsburgh because I think this is exactly what Pittsburgh needs right now. They need a guy for 1 year while this defense is still talked about as a top 5 defense in football. They need a guy for 1 year to see what this team is before they move on to their next option at quarterback. I don't think Tomlin necessarily loved any of the options. Who'd they end up with? Will Howard?
Will Howard, out of Ohio State.
But I don't think Tomlin loved any of the quarterback options this year. That's why he didn't take one with the 11th overall pick. So I think that Tomlin really likes the options in next year's draft. The Steelers can maybe load up some sort of package to move up earlier in the first round. But for this year, look, I see Pittsburgh as a playoff team with Aaron Rodgers. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, they had no other option. I guess they had Shador. There was options they could have drafted guys, and not even in the first round that they could have went and got. Dart was still there. But, yeah, I mean, it's the best of a bad situation. It's Aaron Rodgers talking 2 months ago about how he doesn't know if he wants to play. He's going through personal stuff. Now he's in. All reports are he's locked into camp so far.
I think he got married, too.
He got married. It's just this is what you do when you want to save face and say, we're trying to win this season. So you go get a big name like Aaron Rodgers, but you're not trying to.
They spent $20 million on him.
I mean, you can't throw Mason Rudolph out there and think that and tell your fans that you're a serious contender and trying to win games because the roster is too talented. They're totally setting it up for next year. They have a ton of picks. I believe they have like 12 picks or something like that. So they have the collateral to go get somebody. This is a team that's ready to go. They just need a quarterback at the helm. I mean, Aaron Rodgers could erase a lot of the bad taste people have in their mouth the last couple of years from the Jets if he were to get this team to the playoffs. But, we'll see.
Who next?
Okay. Trade in the NBA came down last night. Drew Holiday going to the Portland Trailblazers for Anthony Simons and a first-round pick. Also, per reports, the Celtics are looking to blow up the rest of the team. They're taking calls on everyone else. What are your thoughts of the Celtics just kind of blowing this thing up after Tatum got hurt?
My thoughts are if Tatum stays healthy, maybe they get an NBA championship this year. With Tatum not going to be healthy for most of next year, they are trying to get what they can for this roster and see what happens in a couple years. But Tatum's going to be sticking around, I'm sure. They're not going to move on from him, are they?
No, because that'd be trading him low. That would be. I'm sure they wouldn't get too much for him. But it always has been an odd thing with Boston that they won a championship. Not this year, but last year, and the team is stacked and ready to go. And you're looking at this is a dynasty for the next while. But the kind of chemistry of there's two 1A 1B stars in Tatum and Brown, but it feels like between the Olympics with three guys on the team, Drew Holiday going and Tatum and Brown not being picked, even though he's the NBA Finals MVP. It always felt like there's been a little friction there on who's getting the last shot, who's taking it. I'm kind of surprised the Celtics are doing this, especially in the Eastern Conference, where it feels like it's pretty wide open if you just took it last year or next year and kind of punts it on the year.
I don't know how wide open it is if you don't have Tatum for the entire regular season. I Drew Holiday.
I don't think they'd win next year, but I think that going forward, if he was healthy the next year, they would certainly be at the top of that.
Now you got a chance to build up around him on his comeback. All right, one more, Sammy?
We're going to stick with the NBA. Biggest storyline heading into tomorrow's draft or your favorite prospect, Fletch, that you think is not being talked about enough?
Look, obviously, Cooper Flagg is going to be the biggest headline of tomorrow. It's going to be the first overall pick to the Dallas Mavericks. You got LeBron James quotes coming out saying about how great this is for basketball that the Mavericks are getting Cooper Flagg. Awesome. Who cares? We've known this for a month and a half now. I like the guys in the top 5. And my favorite storyline, actually, Sammy, is something you and I talked about beforehand. This is an American draft. Like, we got guys that we've seen play college football or college basketball all the way through in this draft. Like the top 5, it should be 100% guys who went and played at the biggest schools around the country with your Dylan Harpers, your Cooper Flaggs. I think this is actually a more prideful NBA draft than we've had in a while.
I'm excited for this one because it did feel like last year with a couple French guys at the top.
And French guys for the last 3 years.
And then Wemby was obviously a massive prospect, the kind of Cooper Flagg level prospect. But, so many guys have gone to the G League. So many guys have been playing overseas that you're just taking their word for it. All the scouts say this guy's really good, and you don't know. I mean, this year, Fletch mentioned some of them, but Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe should go in the top 5. A couple big Con Knipple out of Duke. I mean, there's a Jeremiah Fears, who I'm really high on out of Oklahoma. I think he's only going to get better at point guard. I mean, these are all recognizable names that people watched in March Madness. I think people can get behind a little bit. When you're just kind of selling some guy who played for the G League Ignite, it doesn't really work. I'm excited for this one. It's kind of odd that Rutgers has Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, the number 2 and 3 draft picks probably, and they didn't even make March Madness last year. And Ace Bailey's kind of the wild card. He hasn't taken a workout with any team. And this is not like Cooper Flagg where you're getting assurances that you're going to go number 1 overall. So I'm excited for tomorrow night. I think it's going to be a fun draft. Apparently, Oklahoma City is trying to trade up into the top 10, which is ridiculous because they just won an NBA championship. But, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing the prospects a lot more familiar with them. I think everyone is in the last few years, and should lead to a pretty fun NBA draft.
OKC has a ridiculous amount of picks, I think, in the first and second round of this draft. So they're probably thinking, well, we don't have room for this many guys.
Right, they don't have that many roster spots.
Might as well move on up in this draft, and the rich get richer. All right, good stuff there. We got some NFL stuff to talk about. I got 3 questions for today because we're kind of in the dog days of summer now. NBA finals are done. I got 3 different topics we want to explore in the NFL, and let's pick one of them coming up next. But are more streaming games hurting the product of the NFL? Are more Christmas, Thanksgiving, the Friday night standalone Peacock games, is this going to hurt the product of the NFL moving forward? Let's talk about it next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty, and my friend Gary Cooper. Give Gary a call today, 858-376-1299, if you want to make sure that you got the right guy in your corner. Gary, I hear you have an interesting showing up in Oceanside yesterday. What went down there?
Well, I tell you what, we went into this home that was built in 1964, and so I am very particular about these older homes, and one of the things I found that the agent is not aware of, there was popcorn ceilings that were pulling away from the ceiling and cracked. In addition to that, the back fascia was pulling apart, and you can clearly see that they painted over it, and there's all this wood rot. The reason why this is important for you to know is because if you were to put an offer on that house and the appraiser notes those things, which I would expect that they would, that's a showstopper right there. Meaning that those repairs have to be fixed prior to close of escrow, particularly for VA and FHA loans. But even on the Fannie Freddie loans, the underwriter will call those things out because that's the health safety. So this agent wasn't aware of that who listed the house. So you better be careful who you're hiring to list your house, but also your buyer's agent, because by catching that, we're avoiding you going down the whole road of paying for appraisal, home inspection, and now all of a sudden, we're stuck, because if the seller doesn't have funds to pay that, then that escrow is not going to close.
That's what he does. He swoops in. He saves the day. Call Gary Cooper today at 858-376-1299 or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. When you give Gary a call, tell him the Fletch sent you. Thank you, Gary. San Diego FC back on the pitch tomorrow night. They got Vancouver. You can hear the match live tomorrow night starting at 7 right after SDFC Midweek Live right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home for SDFC. Sammy, do you know what today, Tuesday, June 24th is?
No.
Big day. Big day, because today is marked as the luckiest day of the year 2025.
See, it can't be that lucky if everyone's calling it that lucky.
Tuesday, June 24th is the Jupiter Cassini, considered as the luckiest day of the year, a rare cosmic moment where Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, luck, growth, and blessings, aligns perfectly with the heart of the sun. This is an insane manifestation portal. The energy is bold, golden, and wide open for big visions, financial breakthroughs, abundance and love, purpose and opportunities, quantum shifts in your mindset and reality. Sammy, I think you need to go place a wager.
I'm 100% with that. This is like the what's everyone saying on Instagram? I'm just manifesting love and destiny.
This is time for you to manifest your biggest financial breakthrough and abundance and love.
Okay. So is the lottery going tonight? What's going on?
I know my brother just went and picked up a bunch of tickets right after I sent him this this little Instagram post.
Maybe should we go in? Should the Fletch Stone go in together?
I'm fine with that. I'll stop by 7-Eleven right after the show.
We'll go with some tickets.
All right, but here's the thing, Sammy. This is what you don't know. June 28th
is the unluckiest day.
No, they're casting Love Island in San Diego for the next group.
I have a friend of mine.
It should be you.
A friend of mine. I'm not an influencer though. I never get picked.
No, it doesn't. You just have to be good looking. You're a good looking guy.
I appreciate
Look at your
that.
hair.
I appreciate
you just need
that.
to work on the abs.
We've been hitting core day. We actually had some core earlier. I have a friend who is going out for it.
A man or a woman?
Man. If he gets cast, I promise you I'll have him on the show. I'll have him come down here immediately.
I really think you should go. I really do. I really think you should go. Sammy, it's the luckiest day of the year today. You can start manifesting now. Make a little audition tape.
But it goes out on the 28th.
That's the day of the auditions here in San Diego.
We're trying to get Six Pack Summer, but
no, you just have to. What would you say if the camera's right in front of you? They're like, all right, Sammy Long, it's time for you to give us your spiel. Why should we select you to go out to Fiji and make love with these beautiful, beautiful women?
I think I'd be the ringer.
You already failed.
No. I think
this was your opportunity.
No, I think I would. First off, they're preparing for the audition. They're going through hair and makeup and they're doing all this stuff, waxing on abs. I think I would be there to cause some problems. I would be really good at instigating between the other ones. Did you hear what they said about
That's what they want. That's what they need. They need the drama.
I would be excellent at that.
That's what you go with. That's your audition.
Okay.
You say, hello, Mr. Peacock. How are you? My name is Sammy, and I'm here to FS up.
Why do you got a country twang going there?
I was doing you. That was my impression of Sammy Long.
I'm like the least country person there is.
Yeah, but they have actually
not prideful in country, but country person.
They got a few country people on this year, so maybe that's what they're looking for. I don't know. All right. Did you know that the Chargers-Chiefs game, Friday night in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the first game for those two teams of the season, is broadcast on YouTube only?
Yeah, because they're partnered with YouTube TV.
So it's a free broadcast on YouTube and YouTube TV. You don't need a YouTube TV subscription to watch it. NBC is going to be producing the broadcast. I'm imagining it's going to be Tirico.
Yeah, I'm sure because Collinsworth will be doing the Sunday game. I'm sure they do both.
Doesn't Tirico do the Sunday game now too? Because Al Michaels is Amazon Prime.
Because Jason Garrett's out, so I wonder who's going to be on that NBC team.
Maybe it's Tirico and Collinsworth. Maybe they do the Friday night and Sunday night that week. But this is weird. It's going to be the first ever game streaming exclusively on YouTube. And I'm curious to see how it looks. Hopefully they don't mess it up. But that's going to be 5 o'clock Friday, September 5th. So that's 72 days away now, 71 days away from September 4th. But it leads me to a bigger question, because now that means we got a game in week 1. Thursday night football all year outside of week 1 is Amazon Prime only. Netflix has the 2 Christmas Day games, and then there's going to be a postseason game on Peacock only.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you're talking, we're double digits now every single year on streaming only games. Is that hurt? I know my opinion on it.
No.
My opinion is absolutely not also, because guess what? I only have streaming.
Right,
I don't have cable.
Okay, here's the thing. They're doing all this. People complain. They go, I'm not buying Peacock. I remember the first game was the Chiefs-Dolphins playoff game. It was all on Peacock, and everyone's threatening that they're not going to watch it. and yet it had some of the highest ratings it's ever been. The Christmas Day games between the Chiefs and the Steelers and the Ravens and the Texans, 2 bad games. They were both blowouts for the Ravens and the Chiefs. 66.2 million people average watch. So people are watching this thing, and I don't think the streaming hurts. I think it's cool that we're kind of getting everyone's got their own take on it. I think Amazon Prime's product hurts a little bit in terms of the production of the broadcast, but listen, it's the NFL. It's king. People pay for it anyway. They're watching it. It's not like, trust me, the NFL wouldn't do it if people weren't buying it and watching it. So I think the streaming's cool. I like that the NFL has really made, I mean, it's an event. You associate Thanksgiving with football, and it was always you associated Christmas with basketball, and a lot of people still do, but the NFL's moved in on that.
No, it's the NFL's holiday.
Yeah. The NFL waits for no one.
So I did a little deep dive on some numbers here, and what I came up with is this. So DraftKings, FanDuel, all the major sports books out in Las Vegas, Caesars, MGM, all of the different ones, their target demographic, the people that they are targeting is 18 to 34 years old, which is the younger side of what the NFL fan would be. Historically, NFL fans fit in that average right at 55 years old, which, by the way, historically, that is the target that Sammy and I would be trying to hit. The world has shifted a little bit. It's no longer the NFL.
I don't think the NFL has a target age. They have everyone.
Right, but their target age forever has been 55 because that's the age where you have money and your kids are out of the house and you're willing to go spend. So that's easy to sell to advertisers, right? Well, now who's advertising the most on the NFL broadcasts? Gambling. The biggest target for gamblers or gambling companies are 18 to 34-year-olds. 18 to 34-year-olds, which is the demographic that both Sammy and I fall into, don't have traditional cable. The NFL is moving away from traditional cable little by little. And I tell you, I see a future where there is no traditional cable involved with the NFL because they are now shooting for that 18 to 34.
Well, the NFL is also a trendsetter with everything. Think about what the NFL does. The NFL, they'll change rules left and right. Baseball was caught in its ways. No, we're not having a pitch clock because it takes away the integrity of the game. Now everyone loves the pitch clock because it speeds up games. We're not going to have a runner on second in extra innings because it changes the integrity of games. People like that. It's fun. It speeds up games. You don't have 18-inning games. The NFL was the first to go, yeah, we're going to, after the Saints-Rams game, we're going to allow you to review pass interference. Okay, we hate that, so we're going to take it away. Then we're going to try camera angle from the quarterback's point of view. We don't love that. We're tweaking everything. Think about the NFL. They're the most genius marketers. They were the first league to really market to women. They have a whole line of women's clothes. They were like, the dudes are going to be paying for jerseys anyway. We're going to get a whole base.
I mean, they sold 1 million Travis Kelce jerseys to women.
I mean, it's they are a forefront of how now every other team, every other league follows that.
Well, now that we have baseball on Apple TV only some nights. So, right. Yeah, it's all coming. Just get ready because I'm telling you, within 5-6 years, we're going to see a day where the Fox broadcasts are no longer a thing. And it's going to be everything is Amazon Prime, Netflix, Peacock. That's where it's going to be. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but it might not be a bad thing either. San Diego Sports 760. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we got some text regarding our Padres talk from the first segment. Let's address these and talk about how ridiculous some notions are. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Padres took a tough loss to the Nationals yesterday, 10-6. They'll be back in action tonight at 6:40. Padres are minus 165 on the money line. Trevor Williams will be going for the Nationals, who brings in a record of 3-8 with a 5.54 ERA, and Ryan Berger will be going for the Pods, who's currently 1-0 with a 1.88 ERA. And breaking news out of the NBA: the Pelicans are trading C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second rounder to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 overall pick per Shams Charania. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
I don't know how we all feel about top 10 lists.
We love top 10 lists.
I do like top 10 lists, but there's a top 10 list that I want to give out maybe coming up at 12:45 today, right before long shots, that I got some beef with. I'll tell you that. Stay tuned for that one.
Ooh, that's called a tease, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
going to screenshot that here so we have it for what's next. All right, we got some text in regarding the Padres conversation we were having a little bit earlier, and we can kind of reset that. But if you're just joining us for the first time today, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We're with you till 2 o'clock. This is the show we do every day. It's called the Fletch Zone. Talk a lot of San Diego sports, talk a ton of NFL, and then anything else when it is trending, when it's positive. We try to keep you up to date on everything involved in the sports world and the Love Island world. Come on, we're not living under a stupid rock. We know what's going on. The Hutta hurricane has made landfall, and we will continue to talk about it as news comes out. But we got some text because we were talking about the fact that it was three former Padres, who kicked the Padres' ass last night up and down the field at Petco Park. And it was nice to see Fernando Tatis Jr. hit kind of a meaningless 3-run homer at the end of the game. But what really happened last night was a giant mirror got held up to the organization, a giant mirror got held up to the fan base, and it was just sort of us laughing at our own selves in the mirror from how we all felt 3 years ago now when Juan Soto got traded to the San Diego Padres. Because at the time, it was a handful of prospects. CJ Abrams and maybe Mackenzie Gore for a start. I don't really remember the specifics, but those are the only guys who spent a lion's share of time on the field for the Padres, and those three guys all got moved in the Juan Soto deal. Well, two of those three guys, CJ Abrams and James Wood, dominated last night for the Nationals, and the Padres lose 10-6. But you go back in time, we were all pumped when the Padres got Juan Soto. So here are the texts that come in based on that. 858 says, Padres gave 3 future Hall of Famers and probably a multi-Cy Young winner to rent Soto for 8 months of ball. We made the Red Sox happy. Trading Babe Ruth doesn't look so bad anymore. Here's the thing. You didn't get Juan Soto just for 8 months of ball. You got Juan Soto for at least 2 shots at a World Series, and it didn't work, and that sucks. But you did have those 2 shots at a World Series, and one of them almost worked. What does almost count for? Absolutely nothing. You didn't get the World Series. So, of course, you can look back at it now and say that was a terrible deal. Of course, you can look at James Wood, the production he's giving in left field for the Nationals, and say that's a terrible deal because the Padres need a left fielder, one who could hit preferably, and that kind of marks all the boxes for James Wood. But at the time, you got Juan Soto because you thought you were going to have 2 cracks at a World Series with Juan Soto, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it's everyone was excited when it happened, and you had to make the move on paper. But to this texter's point, I think we've seen a change in the MLB. It's always kind of been like, and part of this is because of the salary cap. There's no salary cap, so teams can just take on great farm systems. The Dodgers, the Yankees, teams like that are able to just reload the farm system kind of every year, so they just trade all their prospects and get big time players. But we've seen this not totally work. I mean, the Dodgers traded for Manny Machado mid-year. They didn't end up winning a World Series. Juan Soto gets traded for the Padres, gave up a ton of prospects. And
the Dodgers also trade for Max Scherzer mid-year, not win a World Series.
So I think we were seeing a thing in baseball where it's always kind of been like, get rid of prospects. And it's not sexy trading for prospects because people outside of the diehard baseball fans who are, following the Leo DeVries or the Ethan Salas's career in the minors, the casual fan might not know who those guys are. So trading prospects for recognizable names, people go, wow, that's what you're looking for. I think we might be seeing something here where the Nationals were onto something. Now, they were kind of forced their hand. Soto was basically like, I'm out, I'm not resigning. So they kind of lucked into this, but they hit on a lot of prospects, as this texter was saying, from the Padres. You wish you could have them back, but I think there's something to that. Like, dare we say it, if this team starts stumbling over the next,
you mean the Padres?
The Padres, yep, they start stumbling to the trade deadline. Do the Padres enact some of that? And I'm not saying
do the Padres even have that type of guy right now, because Soto, I believe, was still on his rookie deal.
Yes. And again, it's kind of now the Padres. It's a little bit weird talking about this trade because the Padres ended up flipping it, with the Yankees for some really good, talented players like King. And
yeah, we just got that text from 619. Didn't that trade also help to bring in King, Cease, Vasquez, and eventually Rice?
So Preller worked his magic and kept the Padres respectable. But I wonder what the thinking is on that. Like, teams that can afford to do it, the Dodgers and the Yankees can afford to just go all in every year because they have the farm system that they can just keep replenishing. The Padres, unfortunately, you're not giving up DeVries. You're not giving up Salas. I mean, if you are, it better be someone that works. And it better be someone where you feel like you are a piece away. And I don't know if the Padres are necessarily a piece away. I think they're a very talented team that's got a lot of pop to them, but they have multiple holes on this roster. It'd be interesting to see how Preller approaches the deadline.
858. I remember thinking when they made the trade for Soto that Wood be the player that they regret trading the most. 858. Did you hear the Spanos family quote on the Soto trade? Quote. And they thought drafting Ryan Leaf was a bad idea. Oh man. Okay. So here's kind of, if you put it all in a nutshell, Sammy, it feels like you're about to say the words, do the Padres consider trading Jackson Merrill? And I don't think that there's a shot in hell the Padres consider trading Jackson Merrill.
No.
Because that's the only one that kind of fits into that vein, right? He's not on a crazy, outrageous contract right now. He would bring in maybe the biggest haul of prospects.
I'm not trading ever. Merrill or Tatis.
Me neither.
I'm asking you.
If you're saying Manny or Bogarts or Darvish or Musgrove, what team would take that on?
The problem with the Padres though right now is two of your pitchers aren't pitching or the highest price guys, Darvish and Musgrove,
and neither of them have any trade value right now.
Right, and especially
Manny Machado, I would argue, has a very low trade value right now.
I mean, and Darvish has none because everyone, even if the Padres were trying to shop him, people are like, are you shopping him because you don't believe in his elbow? And he's 38 years old. So that's not a guy that you're looking at. You don't want to get rid of Musgrove. It's obviously super unfortunate what happened there in the playoffs last year because this rotation would look completely different if you had a guy like Joe Musgrove kind of leading the way. It just feels like we keep waiting for the pitchers to come back. Your Michael Kings, your Yu Darvish, keep hearing from the Padres about how, no, it's just around the corner. Just around the corner. Where, I hope it really is because this team needs to approach the deadline if this is a serious contending team of getting some bullpen help and getting a left fielder. If these guys, if it's kind of they're just stringing it along, and King and Darvish can't come play. I mean, the Padres need starting help as well.
New 858 text in. Afternoon, gents, up here in the Bay Area. Are the Padres actually capable of winning more than 2 games in a row? Otherwise, this is going to be an excruciating process game by game. Here we go again.
Well, that's what with this team. To that text, Fletch, I don't know how you feel with this. This team has shown you the talent. This is why I think people get excited about the Padres because they're a team that has pop, that has, when they're on, they look like a team that could really cause some damage. There's no consistency. I mean, there's zero consistency with this team. They've lost the opening game of each of the last 5 series. And kudos to them, they battled back in a couple of those. But, I mean, it's just you don't know what team you're getting night in, night out. And the bats can look amazing, and then they go super cold, and then the bullpen's amazing the first month of the year, and they're god awful the last 2 months. It's hard to get a read on this team.
It's tough, and a lot of it's situational. Kolek is really bad against lefties. The Nationals have a ton of lefties in their lineup, and so that's really the biggest reason for last night's offensive explosion for the Nationals. Outside of the fact that there was a little destiny at play with CJ Abrams and James Wood both going off last night.
There was more on that game for them.
And Josh Bell. Josh Bell, who also could have signed as a free agent here in San Diego. San Diego didn't want him. And so Josh Bell moved on, ends up back with the Nationals, and absolutely raked again last night. It's tough. I'm curious to see how the next 2 games go. I really am. I'm curious to see if James Wood and CJ Abrams are able to keep up this streak that they had going yesterday, because it felt like as soon as they stepped in the batter's box yesterday, something was going down. And that's exactly what happened. All right, keep those texts rolling in. This is a fun one. We're going to get back to the NFL coming up in hour number 2. We will get to Kevin Acee coming up in hour number 2. He's going to be on at 1:30, hopefully with some brand new updates on some of those arms that Sammy was just talking about. And yeah, trade deadline. I think it's a valid question. Are there some arms maybe in the bullpen that could be on the move for the Padres to try to bring in some younger, more affordable talent?
70470, start a message with team. 70470, start a message with team. Tell us what needs to happen over the next 2 weeks for you to either be buyers or sellers at the deadline for this Padre team.
More like a month, right?
Or a month.
End of July. That's the trade deadline, July 31st.
We got that All-Star break in there. The most exciting week in sports.
It's like the one day of the sports calendar where none of the major 3 sports have a single game going on.
That's always a dark week.
That's a dark day. Or I think we might just get drunk that day.
Yeah, I mean, we can just talk about Love Island all day because it's not like anyone cares about the MLB All-Star game.
Not a bad idea. Casa more last night. Things are starting to get heated. All right, long shots coming up next. We're putting a bit of a twist on it now that we are in the dog days of summer. That's next on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. The iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by Bryan Adams, Ed Sheeran, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. Speaking of Las Vegas, today is supposed to be the luckiest day of the year because of how Jupiter is oriented with the sun, if you believe in all of that stuff. So we're going to try to make some money for everybody. We're going to tweak long shots a little bit here over the next couple of weeks because there's simply just not enough going on for Sammy to have a multitude of options.
Yes, we so over the weekends we will still be giving out the parlays that we will be doing because there's more stuff. There's fighting, there's UFC, there's boxing, there's WNBA going on, and baseball. But we're gonna do a little twist on this where Fletch and I are both gonna give you a pick of the day, a money line pick.
Or a player prop.
Whatever.
I got a player prop for today. Hope that's okay.
That's fine. I have a money line of the day. I have a dog of the day.
I like it. Before we get to that, I did want to go over this top 10 list real quick because I think I have thoughts on it. I think Sammy's going to have thoughts on it. I think the text line might have thoughts on it. So this is coming from somebody whose username on X is @GamecockWill69. Pretty solid username. He did the top 10 beers. Number 10, one more beer. You know, when you're sitting at a bar and you're like, let's get one more beer.
Yeah.
Number 9, ballpark beer. Number 8, poker beer. Number 7, tailgate beer. Number 6, shower beer. Number 5, on the water beer. Number 4, a lunch beer. Number 3, Friday after work beer. Number 2, your first ever beer. Number 1, free beer.
Number 2 needs to be moved down. Your first ever beer
Usually sucks.
Yeah,
mine was like a Budweiser. I was like 9 years old, and I asked my mom if I could drink it.
9 years old when you had your first beer?
Well, so my mom uses them out in her garden to get birds away. And so we were essentially just bringing a bunch of Budweisers out to her garden and emptying them and then putting them up on stakes. And I remember sneaking a sip of one.
Fletcher was showing up drunk to 4th grade.
No, it was the worst thing I'd ever tasted in my life. I was 9 years old. Beer was terrible. Now I love beer. Don't bother me with a good time, but the first beer is not a good option.
So send me that. Okay, read the list again. So number 1 is free beer. I think everyone, free beer is always.
See, free beer is great, but I mean, I'm fine buying a beer and sipping it on a boat on a lake.
I think
that's my number 1
that
beer.
Needs to be higher. That's 5, right? On the boat.
Yeah, the on the water beer was 5.
That needs to be higher. Nothing like sitting either in the pool or on a boat, sipping some cocktails of some beer. Always good.
Arguably, the better beer is like if you're on a lake day on a boat and then you jump into the water and you have a little.
Yes, a little cool off.
Yeah.
Or you gotta and you hold your beer in the water.
Yes.
That's
it's elite.
That needs to be higher. Shower beer. That's not. Because then you could get water in the beer.
Oh, don't bother me with a shower beer. I love a good shower beer, baby.
Don't you shower at 4 a.m?
You're getting ready to go out. Oh, I do, yeah. But if you're getting ready to like go out on the weekend and you gotta get a shower in before you're getting ready for the night.
I got a question though. Where's golf course beer?
That's not on here. That was gonna be my big issue too. The other glaring miss by at Gamecock Will 69, garage beer.
Garage beer, especially if you're like jamming.
Or how about if everyone in the house is annoying the hell out of you, and so you go out to the garage, you sit down on a couch or a bucket. I'll take a bucket any day of the week, and you just pop open a beer.
There's nothing better than sitting at like a dive bar and like at the bar. Sometimes it's fun. What's very underrated is drinking by yourself. And I know there's a stigma to that. Like,
mark it, save it, clip it. That's going up.
There's a stigma like, I'm drinking by myself. There is nothing better than sitting at a bar, having a cocktail, having a drink, a beer.
Pre-flight beer?
Dude.
Pre-flight beer is elite.
Yes.
PFBs.
Airport beers are the best because the trip's starting, but there's still more to look forward to.
I'd go to a bachelor party, got to go to a bachelor party a couple years ago in Austin, Texas, and I kind of got screwed over getting onto the plane, and the flight attendant recognized that. And so I was all the way in the back. I think this was a Southwest adventure where
we know our thoughts on Southwest.
I ended up getting toasted. Neither here nor there. It was
the flight was delayed by 3 hours.
It was made up for and then some, because the flight attendant knew that I got screwed over. And so she came to the back. It was like, "You want a beer on the house?" I said, "Ma'am, I don't know if you just grew those wings or if they've always been there, but you angel, I love you." Oh my God.
858 airport beer flight while on vacation. Yes. Airport. I can't believe we forgot that. Airport beer is amazing because you're excited. You got through security. Going through security is always a little bit chaotic. You're always a little like, this is exhausting. Then you get there, take a nice little load off. On the plane, beer is nice, even though it usually pisses off the flight attendants and they have to go get you alcohol.
Give me a nice stiff IPA. Make it count.
You're an IPA guy?
I love it. A good IPA.
I drink IPAs if it's free.
You drink an IPA if you want to not drink a ton of liquid and still get the job done quick.
Another 858 happy hour beer after a long day. Very, very good.
Happy hour beer is a good beer.
See, sitting by yourself at a bar, there's something to be like, what did
we should probably check in on Sammy a little bit more often.
George, what did George Thorogood say? I drink alone. Sometimes I prefer to be by myself.
We should probably check in with Sammy a little bit more often. All right, let's do some long shots here. I got my pick ready to go. Sammy, I think you have your pick ready to go. We're going to smash that button in just a second. So we are tweaking it a little bit throughout the rest of the MLB regular season. Once we get football in the sniffing distance, we'll go back to the way it was. But Sammy, smash it.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, got it. It's time for Sammy's long shots.
Might need to get a little more creative here, peeps, with how you're putting these in, where you're logging these long shots over the next few weeks.
They know. They're smart.
But this is just what we'll throw out there. So I'll go ahead and do mine first. Is that all right, Sammy?
You do yours first.
So we're familiar, everyone, with the Indiana Fever, the team that Caitlin Clark plays for. Now, Caitlin Clark, if you haven't noticed, since coming back from injury, has been getting bullied every time she touches the basketball. They're not even letting her get shots up often, and she is just getting beaten and bruised every single game. Well, who has stepped up in that absence of Caitlin Clark scoring is Kelsey Mitchell. She's been over 20 points, I believe 5 out of her last 7 games. Her line is set at 16.5 tonight. I would like to take the over on Kelsey Mitchell to score more than 16.5 points tonight. Long shots is easy.
Oh, so now you make one pick. I had to make 4.
She's playing against the Seattle Storm tonight.
Okay, so I like that.
Career 37% shooter from beyond the 3-point line. She's getting a ton of shots with Caitlin Clark getting just bullied.
I'm giving you a money line, and listen, our listeners know how to place these. just so we don't get in trouble, we can't say.
We got tons of listeners in Vegas.
Exactly. Everyone's got a friend in Vegas or out there in Phoenix. You can place a bet out there. My favorite dog of the day, New York Mets, plus 125 on the money line tonight. Lost to the Braves yesterday. Spencer Schwellenbach unfortunately sold long shots. Did not go over.
Come on, Spence.
I know he did not go over on strikeouts, even though he stayed until the 7th inning. Quietly, Frankie Montes, he's struggled a little bit this year. I like Montes' pitch. I think that the 4.84 ERA has been a little bit overblown. He's gotten in some tough spots. Spencer Strider is one of the aces going for the Braves, especially now that Chris Sale's hurt for a while. But Strider has struggled a little bit this year. He is 2-5 on the year. Here's what I think, though. Lindor and Nimmo have absolutely destroyed Spencer Strider in his career. Lindor's 6 for 18 off him. Brandon Nimmo is 9 for 19. Soto's had 3 hits off him. Pete Alonso's had 3 hits off him. Sterling Marte, Jeff McNeil. So this whole lineup's very familiar with him. I think that they're going to get a little get back tonight. 2 very good teams. The Mets have been in a little bit of a slump recently, but I think they get it back tonight. I think Frankie Montes is a big night pitching, and the bats come through because I don't believe in Strider.
858 says, how did he miss the cookout beer? SMH.
Dude.
How did we miss the cookout beer?
Dude.
The backyard barbecue beer?
That is 100%. Yes.
How about a pool beer? I guess on the water beer.
We said on the water beer.
All right, here's the list one more time if you want to keep these texts coming in. Number 10, the one more beer. Hey, Sammy, why don't we just stay for one more beer?
The problem with that is then you're like, then you do it, and then you're like, oh, I gotta have someone pick me up, and it's a whole thing.
Number 9, ballpark beer. Number 8, poker beer. Number 7, tailgate beer. Number 6, shower beer. Number 5, on the water beer. Number 4, lunch beer. Number 3, Friday after work beer. Number 2, first beer. Number 1, free beer.
Poker beer. I'm debating this because poker beer, it is fun to drink when you're playing cards.
I'd prefer a poker cocktail.
Exactly. And I also, because we're trying to win money, like there's a part of you that I don't really want to be buzzed when I'm trying to play poker. It's already a hard enough game.
Best nights I've ever had in Vegas are when I'm hammered.
Like, cause when I went to Vegas a couple weeks ago, we have been drinking all day and it was 4 a.m. and they're like, do you want beer? And I'm like, no, we're on a heater right now. I actually declined beer because I was like, I need to stay focused and locked in. I don't know if we can, I don't want to be distracted because then I start throwing money. Then I start tripling my bets and it goes down a bad path.
858 road beer, or is that just me? No comment. 858. It is San Diego Sports 760. We're going to take a quick break here. Hour number 2 is coming up next. Kevin Acee is going to be jumping on the show. I'm curious what Kevin's favorite beer is.
You think Kevin likes road beer?
Kevin is an old-fashioned guy. Like, he likes a whiskey drink. I don't know that Kevin likes
everyone likes beer.
I don't know if Kevin's a brewski guy. I really don't.
I mean, you're telling me you can't sit down with a nice Corona?
We'll find out next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report sponsored by Total Wine and More. Washington Nationals Padres game 2 tonight at 6:40. Trevor Williams going for the Nationals, while Ryan Berger is going for the Padres. Padres are currently a half game back of a wild card spot in the NL. And a trade in the NBA came down in the last 30 minutes per Shams Charania. Pelicans are trading guard CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 overall pick in tomorrow's NBA draft. Ready to kick off summer right. Total Wine and More has the seltzer, spirits, and summertime essentials you need. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you always find out what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine and More. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
Check the clock.
What time is it?
It's high noon.
Big Rich TD are filling in on Thursday this week.
The boys.
Bad idea. Didn't know what I was thinking.
So it'll be Big Rich TD Sammy. You can watch it. It's going to be chaos, I'm sure.
Fletcher, we love you, but I just want to give you a heads up. It's probably not best that you listen to that show. Whenever there's a lull in the show, it's just going to be punching bag Fletcher.
Well, why don't you cry about it?
There's a reason they're only filling in one day. That's all Mary Ayala, program director, would allow them to fill
Yeah, we
in.
might get thrown off the air.
Just be ready with that dumb button, man.
You cannot say filth, flarn, filth.
Our audience, our beautiful audience, they're used to cuss words. They're used to big boy words.
Yeah, it's not the audience I'm worried about. It is the FCC.
Now it's time to enter the Fletch zone.
Hour number 2, let's rock and roll here on San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher. That is Sammy Long. We are with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got a great little note from our buddy Rich on YouTube that we'll discuss in a second here. But I did want to bring everyone's attention out to Oklahoma City. I almost feel bad even bringing this up.
Dude,
It's bleak out there in these streets. You guys seen that movie, The Book of Eli, with Denzel, where it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland? It's kind of what it looks like for the Thunder's championship parade that's going on today. And
no one's there.
no one is there. It's bad, man. I mean, usually like the NBA sends out tweets. You never know if they're telling the truth or they're lying. Well, they got video of OKC during the parade route, and there is nobody there cheering on the Thunder, who just won the first championship in team history. I bet you if it was in Seattle, the place would be packed. Do you remember the Toronto NBA Finals parade?
Yeah, they shut down the whole city.
There was like deaths. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but they had too many people in too small an area to where they literally had to shut everything down in Toronto. It's kind of rough when you see the shape that OKC is in today. And look, this fan base was great throughout the entire postseason. The place was packed. It was loud. It was nuts. But maybe just nobody had work off today.
Well, it's odd because you'd think like a small market team like that, like the entire city was shut down. I mean, I remember being in Seattle when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl.
You ever go to a Chiefs parade?
I didn't. I have not actually, but the whole city shut down. And the parades the last few years have had some tragedy. So I thought they weren't even going to do one. The Chiefs had one. I believe the Denver Nuggets had one. But like, I remember being in Los Angeles when the Lakers won the championship. I mean, this is not a good thing, but people were like flipping cars. I mean, there's like it's like going off. And the Thunder, it's like there's no one there. And the craziest is you can find the local OKC news station, and they're like, look at all they're trying to gas it up. They're like, look at all the people here tonight.
It's in the helicopter shot looking down, and they're like, yeah, can you pan to where there's people?
Dude, did you see the amount of, speaking of beer from last segment, did you see the amount of alcohol they left the Thunder, because they had a bunch of like Michelob Ultras just lined up for everyone to be spraying and drinking? They left like bundles of them. It's like a weird team. They're like anti-partying. Should
have let us swoop in, clean up the locker room. We would have taken care of a couple.
Yeah, I'm like, this Oklahoma City team is just not very likable right now.
It's not it, man. And the parade sucks. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is literally like walking with the trophy and letting fans touch the trophy. Fans should not be able to get within 2 inches.
Well, like the 86 Mets are doing cocaine and doing all this stuff, and we have the Thunder who are like
walking very politely down the street.
Walking very politely down the street. So
it sucks, man. I feel bad for the Thunder team. Like they should, even when they won, like the celebration on the court was nothing.
No, it was not like, I mean, you go back to,
it's weird, man.
We like 2010. I know Kobe kind of copied Michael, but he gets up on the table, the iconic shot where he holds the ball out. LeBron, whatever you think about LeBron when he won, and it's like the emotions come pouring out in 2016. I mean, all these teams, it's odd. It's like it's kind of another day for them.
There's a video up right now on social media, and I'll try to go find it and retweet it. But they clipped all 4 of the most recent champions together in the major sports. And you see the Eagles celebration, how nuts it was. You saw the Panthers celebration, how crazy it was. You see the Dodgers celebration, how insane it was. And then it's OKC. And it's just the Curb Your Enthusiasm music.
Yeah.
That's nothing. They're not even celebrating. Like, smile one time for me. But yeah, the parade's going on right now. Not that anyone
Text
knows.
line's disagreeing, saying there's 600,000 people. I saw shots on legit accounts that no one was there.
I mean, Barstool has it up right now. I've seen the same thing. I haven't been watching the coverage on TV, but maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's just the internet.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we got duped. I'll look into this, but I saw legit accounts that were like, no one is here right now.
Same. I saw the same thing, and I saw news coverage from helicopters showing nobody in the streets of Oklahoma City.
Well, I'm happy for them if they did pick up over the day.
Same.
It should be.
I hope you're right, 619. I really do. All right, we'll get back to the Padres in just a little bit with Kevin Acee. We got some more NFL stuff we want to get to coming up in about 5 or 6 minutes here. But right now, it's time for the big 3 of hour number 2. The top stories in the world of sports. Sammy Long, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big 3.
Where are we going with hour number 2?
All right, we're talking about Los Angeles Lakers. So, report out of The Athletic, Luka has lost a ton of weight and is looking, quote, super fit. The Lakers are the favorites to land Bam Adebayo, and they also called the Celtics about Kristaps Porzingis. Would you like to let the Lakers to go all in, try to get a center? Could be at the cost of Austin Reeves, so they said that they don't think that they'd be trading, or would you rather run it back, do a more serviceable center who they could just get for cheap and try to run it back next year?
All right, extreme weight loss. Let's talk about it. Here's the quote. Luka Doncic has reportedly lost a significant amount of weight this offseason and is focused on improving his conditioning as he enters his first full year with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's been working on a strict diet and cardio training and spent a month away from on-court work to focus on his body.
Luka taking his job seriously.
Who would have
Love
thought?
to see it.
2025. It's just insane. I mean, the dude wasn't even that fat. Like, there are angles where you could tell Luka's getting a little chonky, but he wasn't like crazy.
Well, what's crazy is he averaged
a ton.
He averaged that many points a game. Like, this year's like 28 or 29. But
he lost like 10 pounds.
No.
You think he needed to lose more than 10?
The pictures of him, I think he lost like 50 pounds. Like he looks.
I doubt it.
No, he looks. They showed a video of him squatting in the gym, and he looks like unrecognizable.
Well, good thing he has 3 more months to go, and so he could gain all that weight back.
Man, you hating,
dude. I know how it goes. I've dropped 40 pounds before and gained 20 of it back in like a week and a half.
Yeah, except you're not a professional athlete though.
I like to think of myself as one.
I know you think of yourself as one, but you're not.
The Lakers do need to add a center. I think it's okay if you let Reeves go. I really don't. Like, he is good. Austin Reeves is very fun, and he can win you some regular season games. I didn't love what I saw from Reeves this postseason. So I think if you're going to move on from somebody, that makes the most sense, especially if you're going all in to try to win a championship, one more for LeBron this year with him. Yeah,
I don't want him to trade Reeves. Obviously, if some package with Giannis became available, I don't think that's going to happen because the Spurs have the only way that Giannis would happen is if he said, I want to go to New York or I want to go to LA and be in a big market. The Spurs, they can just offer more. Some teams like that can just offer more for Giannis. So that's probably out. I would not trade Reeves for basically anyone. I think Reeves, I know he had a bad postseason. He was dealing with a foot injury. Luka, every time he's had a lot of success, got to the Western Conference Finals with Jalen Brunson, then went to the championship with Kyrie Irving, has needed a number 2 guard to go with him. Now, he needs size. The Mavs team had a lot of size with it. He needs multiple centers to come in here. I would love Bam Adebayo. I don't know what Miami would take to get him. He's a smaller center. Some people have had some questions about you want a lob threat with Luka. He's not really a lob threat, but Bam Adebayo would be fantastic. They called about Porzingis. The Celtics kind of selling everyone off. I don't know if that's really the right move. If he was cheap, I'd take him, but I don't know that I'd give up a bunch of picks for him. There's guys like Nick Claxton, Miles Turner's a free agent. So be interesting to see what they do. They need a center. They have to get a center. If they run it back with no center, which they won't do, they're not going to win a championship. And that'd be a shame because this team does seem pretty good to go at the guard spot. But we'll see what happens here in the next week.
And we are getting blown up now. Our buddy Vito on Twitter sending us some alternate video from OKC. And there's people there.
Okay, we got duped by the internet then.
We got duped by Barstool Sports.
All right, we apologize, everyone.
Never trust in Dave Portnoy again.
I checked that it wasn't NBA Centel.
No, I know.
I went to other stuff.
Centel has a video up too, but maybe it's just late arriving crowd. I don't know. But
Okay,
again,
never mind.
If 600,000 is the number, though, the number in Toronto was like 1.5 million.
I'm sorry. I saw legit sources.
We saw the same thing.
Legit reporters on NBA TV talking about how it wasn't that many people. But I'm glad it picked up. Maybe that was early this morning and they kind of fixed it. Sticking in the NBA draft. Fletch, this is odd. Ace Bailey out of Rutgers.
2 million people at Toronto's NBA final
Yeah,
parade.
so a big disparity there. But maybe it's just Oklahoma doesn't make people. NBA mock draft. Ace Bailey out of Rutgers, kind of superstar young player, didn't make the tournament with his running mate Dylan Harper. He has not taken a single pre-draft workout. And this is not a guy that was projected like Cooper Flagg, who doesn't need to take a single pre-draft workout because he's going number 1 overall. What's your reaction to this? Do you think that there's too much made about like going back to Shedeur Sanders, pre-draft workouts, pre-draft interviews, or do you think you need to do all that stuff?
NBA is a lot different than the NFL because in the NFL, what they're working on is more to see if you can process the game at the NFL level. If you can come in and understand the playbook at the NFL level. NBA, I do think you know what you need to know based on film. You know what you need to know based on how they played in college. You could see the translation a little bit easier from college to the NBA than you can from college to the NFL. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Where's he projected to go right now? Top 5.
Well, he's dropped. He was supposed to go 3, and apparently VJ Edgecombe from Baylor has jumped him. So they think top 5, but there's like no one knows if they got a promise from someone or. But teams have been requesting to work him out in the top 5, in the top 10 picks, and he won't do it. So unless there's some crazy like draft day shock that he goes in like the top 2,
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't.
It seems a little odd to me why that would happen. But all right, let's go to the NFL real fast. Of course, got to get it in. Let's go back to Aaron Rodgers. So said today earlier on Pat McAfee's show said that this is going to be his last year heading in. What do you think are realistic expectations for the Steelers in the AFC North?
In the AFC North, they're probably going to come in, let's say it's going to be a tight race between the Bengals and them for second place. Ravens are going to win it, and then it's going to be a tight race between the Bengals and the Steelers for second place. I do, as of right now, feel like the Steelers are a playoff team. The AFC North is a damn good division, man. We know with the little bit expanded postseason, a little more opportunity for teams to get in. I do see the Steelers as a 10 or 11 win team. I could see a real path for them to the postseason, probably more so at this point than I could see for the Cincinnati Bengals, just because of the defensive liability that Cincinnati is. Aaron Rodgers makes them better. I don't have much doubt in my mind about that.
Does them making the playoffs erase the stink of the last 2 years of the Jets?
On Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, yeah,
it's going to depend on the year that he has. Like, he really, by the numbers, was not that bad last year. By the numbers, he was Josh Allen. Now, obviously, two very different teams.
Yeah, we watched the games. We know that didn't happen.
Very different teams, very different quarterbacks. But if by the numbers, Aaron Rodgers can put up another great year, then yeah, man, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know that there's that much stink on him from New York.
What? There's tons of stink.
Because he got hurt, and then he had a good statistical year with a garbage team. He wasn't awful.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't awful.
That team was ready to go. The Jets had a supposedly good defense. They fired Salah halfway through the year. You had receivers galore who he handpicked. He made Garrett Wilson, who was supposed to be like this kind of rising prospect that was really good for the Jets, has been non-existent the last 2 seasons because of him. He was hurt the first year, and then last year, him being there, he didn't throw him the ball. He was not good. I think there's a lot of stink on him. He could change that. I think
Garrett Wilson went for 1,100 yards last year. That was 14th in the NFL.
Last year, he went for 1,100 yards. Because he was talking about today or 2 weeks ago at the Jets camp that he was excited to get to play with a quarterback who valued him in Justin Fields.
2024 offense. Garrett Wilson had 101 receptions for 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Okay. You think Aaron Rodgers had a good season last year?
I'm not going to say it was great, but yeah, it was good. I think that it gets twisted a little bit. Like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers was necessarily the biggest problem in New York a year ago.
But you can't be Aaron Rodgers coming in, I'm the savior, I'm going to save this franchise and not win. That team was awful and completely underperformed. Oh, he had Breece Hall. He had running backs galore. They got everything around him. The only way he eliminates some of this is if he goes to Pittsburgh, makes the playoffs, and wins a playoff game. I think that's a successful season for Pittsburgh. I think people would look at Aaron Rodgers and go, he took the season seriously. You have to make the playoffs. I think you have to win a playoff game. But you saying there's no stink after New York, there's a ton of stink.
I don't think there's that much stink. I think there's a lot of stink on Aaron Rodgers from off the field Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's all self-sabotage. And I think it's you can feel how you want to about how you feel about Aaron Rodgers off the field.
Okay,
On the field, he had a
real
fine
quickly
season.
before we go to break. You can't talk like Aaron Rodgers does and then not back it up and then go, oh, well, my statistics were okay. Kyler Murray had okay statistics.
I mean, he didn't get a lot of wins, but he was only getting blown out by like the Bills. They had a ton of close games.
Do we judge by how much you lose by?
Of course not, but they did play in a lot of close games.
That doesn't mean anything.
I know it doesn't.
All I hear for people hating the Chiefs is how they're having regression because they won 15 one-score games. But I mean,
Chiefs are a different story. We could see some serious cracks in that organization, I think, last year.
I don't know why you're defending this dude. I don't understand what Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think he's that bad, and I think that maybe it gets overblown a little bit of what his production was last year. Like obviously, Josh Allen was a better quarterback than him a year ago, but I do think it's overblown. It's not like Aaron Rodgers was bottom of the league.
858 is some strong words for you.
All right, we'll get to him coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee coming up in 15 minutes. We got some tickets to give away in the next segment, so stay tuned live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We got 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the bonus bucks giveaway, including today. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 2:00 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee is going to be joining the show 9 minutes from right now. We'll talk Padres with Kev. We'll talk about the trade deadline with Kev, see if anything is going to heat up here over the next little bit. And by the way, for all you Padre fans out there, Jarren Duran was a pretty popular name over the last couple of weeks with the San Diego Padres. Guess who's being linked to him now?
Who?
It'd be the Los Angeles Dodgers, Sammy.
Ooh.
There are some mock drafts or mock trades out there. I don't know how legit any of it is.
I don't even know where he would play for the Dodgers.
That's what I'm saying. But the Dodgers can do that. They can, and they can go and get him and to be a bench piece for their team, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to ask Kevin here in a few minutes about what he thinks about all this, because I mean, this team needs help. Clearly, I mean, we're seeing this with the Padres. They need multiple positions of need in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks is gonna be really crucial, determining if they're buyers, sellers. If they hold, they're basically selling. I think the worst.
I don't know. They're what? They're like 7 games over 500.
The worst
right
thing
now?
this team could do would be to hold. It's like either buy and go all in and try to go produce a winner, or sell and get some assets back. Because I mean, credit to Bogaerts, he's been playing well the last week.
Look, there's 6 games over 500 right now. If they hold, if there's 6 games over 500 going into the All-Star break right before the trade deadline, they're buying.
Yes. But I'm saying if they just hold and do nothing, I think that's telling you something, because I don't think what this team has shown so far.
You mean hold as in just keep the team the way it is.
They don't make any
Don't
moves.
buy or sell.
Yeah, I'm saying that is the worst thing the Padres could do. Either buy and go all in trying to produce a winner, which I'm all with. I think the city's all with. If they tank over the next few weeks, don't just hold the team. Sell off someone who you think that could produce some picks back for you and some prospects, and try to kind of refill this thing.
All right, text line, a couple of them. We're just getting killed for what we were saying with OKC.
Yeah,
blame
we were
Barstool.
wrong.
Don't blame us. That's not us. That's video. It's
We
faulty.
literally had real sources on this.
Internet-
Thank you, Text Line, for calling us out.
Bunch of fake news is what they are. But the 619, one last note, OKC population 700,000, Toronto 3 million, and it's the 90s and sunny in Oklahoma City today. Okay, last 2 notes.
619, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We apologize for that. We messed up.
858, Fletch is delusional. Steelers could add Mahomes and they won't win over 9 games. Are we really saying no? That's false. The Steelers still have a really good defense. They had Patrick Mahomes.
No, if they had Mahomes, they'd probably go win a Super Bowl.
They're probably Super Bowl favorites if they add Patrick Mahomes to this team.
But you do love you some Aaron Rodgers.
I like Aaron Rodgers. The dude's the most talented quarterback of my lifetime. And he's also the most talented quarterback of your lifetime, Sammy.
Talent does not equate to winning.
I believe me, I married into a family full of Packer fans. There is no love for Aaron Rodgers in my family because they believe with the teams that he had in Green Bay, there should have been 3 Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers, not just 1. And there should have been. Jordy Nelson, amazing. Those teams were
Randall
fantastic.
Cobb, great defenses. Clay Matthews.
Thank you. Yes, but it didn't happen. And he put up great statistical years his entire career. He won a bunch of MVPs. That's awesome, but it's also empty. It's hollow. Last year with the Jets may have been empty stats, sure, but it's not like he was bad.
He wasn't good either.
He wasn't great.
No,
but he wasn't bad.
Wasn't good.
Then what's the difference between good, great, and bad? There's got to be something in the
Aaron
middle.
Rodgers, they brought him in to change the franchise and take him to a Super Bowl, or at least be relevant. That Jets team was loaded from a roster perspective. I mean, you had great Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, great guys. I know the Jets organization is terrible and they fire Saleh halfway through the year, but if he can't make it worth it in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, one of the most stable organizations in the Rooney family and all the NFL, with DK Metcalf in that defense with an improving offensive line, there's no more excuses for Aaron Rodgers. So he better go win a playoff game.
That defense you love so much, giving up 32 points in week 1, losing to the 49ers. I remember that game. That was a good one.
And wasn't TJ Watt out for those games?
37 points in week 7 against the Steelers. I'm just saying.
Talking about the Jets.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Against the Steelers, they gave up that many points.
I didn't know when you became an Aaron Rodgers stan.
I'm just trying to give the man some defense here. You're trying to boil him alive. Tar and feather him.
He talks like he's still him, and he's not.
He might be. We'll see what he does this year with the Steelers. Okay. I'm excited to see.
I'll place a bet on his passing yards with you.
All right, we got like a minute and a half here. Let's get to this before we get to Kevin Acee. NFL quarterbacks heading into year 2. Last year was really almost unprecedented for rookie quarterback success when you think about what Jaden Daniels did with the Washington Commanders. Is Jaden Daniels or any of the quarterbacks from last year heading towards a major regression in year 2? CJ Stroud did it with the Houston Texans. Trevor Lawrence has basically been in regression since his senior year of college. But what quarterback is going to really hit the bottom of the barrel in year 2?
Well, Caleb's not going to regress. Caleb's going to get better in my book.
He better.
Jaden Daniels, I think Jaden Daniels is legit superstar. Now, is he going to match with the season he did last year? Maybe not. There's probably going to be a little regression, but I think Jaden Daniels is that kind of echelon of quarterback.
Drake May?
No, he's going to get better.
People were high on Drake May last year.
I think Bo Nix, even though I like Bo Nix, I think Bo Nix maybe got a little overblown there. The Broncos didn't really beat anyone with talent.
Bo Nix feels like the only one on this list, by the way, that really meets the criteria outside of Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels started his rookie season with such a high point, making it to the NFC Championship game, playing like a superstar all the way there, putting to bed the rest that he was fragile. He made it through the entire season. Bo Nix does feel like the guy that sort of came out of nowhere and might really fall off the map next year.
Well, May came on the last month, but the problem with Drake May, I think, is that the Patriots have not surrounded him with like signing a Stephon Diggs for a 3-year, $66 million contract. I don't think it's.
But they got him the head coach. I'm very high on Mike Vrabel. I think the Patriots' future is bright with him.
Bo Nix is a talented player. I'm not knocking him. I don't know that in that division. With the Chiefs, the Chargers got better. The Broncos are a very good team. Even the Raiders are not going to be just a walkover like they have been in years past.
See, the Broncos might be thinking about moving on from Justin Simmons.
Really?
Maybe put him in a trade to a team that, I don't know, plays in San Francisco.
No one cares.
That's just the rumor that's going on right now, Sammy. It's that Justin Simmons.
Is Justin Simmons going to push you over the top?
Just think about that. On the front level, Michael Williams and Nick Bosa. The middle level, Fred Warner. And the back level, Justin Simmons.
Niner glaze.
All right, quick break. Kevin Acee coming up on the other side. It is San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Padres back for Game 2 against the Washington Nationals after losing 10-6 last night. Trevor Williams will be on the mound for the Nationals, while Ryan Bergert will be going for the Padres. The Padres currently minus 165 on the money line with the run total set at 8.5. And the NBA draft gets going tomorrow night. Cooper Flagg is a presumptive number 1 overall pick, followed by Dylan Harper, they believe. Ace Bailey seems to be falling in the draft. Per report, sounds like Philadelphia might go VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. It's cake batter, it's cookie dough. It's the new Superman cake batter cookie dough blizzard treat. Now participating DQ locations for a limited time. Fly in today for this comic collision of flavor, and don't miss Superman. Only in theaters July 11th. DQ. Happy taste good.
Kevin Acee on San Diego Sports 760. Brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
Kevin Acee joins us every single Tuesday, usually at 1:30, sometimes at 12:30, sometimes at 1. Tough to track down a time with Mr. Ace. How are you, sir?
I didn't know it was so difficult. I'm going to try to be better about that.
No, you're easy, Kevin. Kevin, something to keep in the back of your mind while we talk about Padres and former Padres and the record and the trade deadline and all the fun stuff we're going to get to and the pitching injuries. Think about your favorite time to consume a beer. All right. And we'll look back to that at the end of this, like pre-flight beer, lake beer, boat beer, garage beer. Just think about your favorite time, and then we'll get back to that at the end of this little interview. You good with that?
Sure.
All right, now let's talk about the Padres. James Wood, CJ Abrams, Josh Bell kind of kicked the Padres' ass last night. You got any thoughts?
Unfortunate for the Padres that those three guys, obviously, Josh Bell, look, that can happen, but obviously the other two, that trade will likely come back to haunt them. That is entirely different than saying that the Padres shouldn't have made the trade. But, I firmly believe that both can be true, that they were correct, or it was a good thing to go after Juan Soto, who should have been more here because he's been more before and after being here. And then they're going to lose this trade probably if, CJ Abrams is, a borderline all-star for much of his career, and James Wood is close to what it seems he is now. Then look, the Padres are going to lose that trade, but you go for it, and that's what happens.
I know we do this every week, but do we have an update on Yu Darvish or Michael King?
Yu Darvish is going to do something tomorrow, Wednesday, be that a rehab start. They had talked about it being for sure a sim game, but it might be something more structured than that and get him out to somewhere. But I will find out later today. This is all on the fly, and that's all good. Now, Michael King, look, yesterday was a big step. It doesn't mean that we have any more clarity, except that, look, he can throw from 105, and he's calling it like kind of light, medium. But, to throw 105 feet, you got to have some strength. So that's a far cry from pitching, but it's also a far cry from doing nothing. So that was nice.
Now, Kev, I believe we did not get to check in with you last week. I know you were on with John and Jim a couple times, but after all the craziness between the Dodgers and the Padres and the back and forth and the Mike Shildt and the Dave Roberts, from your point of view, was that a little childish what was going down on the field, or do you think that there's some built-up tensions that are going to come out eventually, maybe the next time these two teams play?
I think it'll be right on the edge. Sure. I don't think there's really any question that it will be. And it just as likely could be that nothing happens when they play in August, and they play, 6 times in 10 days. But yeah, it's real, it seems, that I don't know if don't like each other, but in the current circumstances, yeah, they got beef. So I think, was it silly to some extent? I also think Dave Roberts is a tiny bit of a genius. The role of a big market manager is to be the clown sometimes, to if that's how you want to put it, to be the lightning rod, to take it off his players, to become the story. That's kind of the role. It's a part of the $8.1 million that he's making every year. And kind of has worked out for him. On the other hand, I had a hard time finding fault with anyone but Dave Roberts in that situation, because he escalated it. Certainly Mike Shildt knew what he was doing, but he had every right and needed his players to know and the Dodgers to know that the Padres weren't screwing around anymore.
Are the Padres for sure buyers of the deadline, or is there anything over the next 2-3 weeks that could change that?
Sure, they could suck as bad as they've been sucking. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be stupid for them to be buyers. So I think by the All-Star break, we'll have clarity. Now, if you talk about right now, this minute, they're buyers. For sure, they're buyers, all right? But, like, they knew before the season there was a possibility that they got to the trade deadline and that they were going to be sellers or buyers and sellers or whatever you want to talk about. They were going to unload some salary. That was a possibility. Now, the hot start, and we're sitting there in the middle of May, maybe even the beginning of June after they won those 3 in a row, and it was like 7 of 9 or 7 of 10 they won or something. It's like, oh yeah, no problem. They're buyers for sure, and that's how they felt. But like, they have to have multiple contingencies, and the fact is, if they keep going in the next, I think it's 18 games till the All-Star break. If they keep going as they've gone in the last 19 games, which is 7 and 12, they'll be 500 at the All-Star break. And 500, I don't think now in the American League, you still might be 2 games out of a wild card spot. But 500 with no clarity on Michael King, no real clarity on Yu Darvish. Let's see what Dylan Cease is doing. Let's see what Nick Pivetta is doing. You might be silly to be thinking that you should do it. Now, here's the complication, and I always say that AJ Preller and Eric Grupner and John Seidler, that the management's job is to do what's best for the organization, big picture. That means now and later. But the fact is, you've sold out 33 of 37 games. This fan base has bought in. That's a tough sell to be sellers. So there is that to consider.
It'd be a little bit of a slap in the face, especially if it's a guy like a Suarez, who's become a total fan favorite and who, by the way, is like leading all of baseball in saves. If you were to move on from him at the trade deadline, just punting on having a closer the rest of the year, it'd be tough to those people who are selling out Petco Park as frequently as they are.
Well, I will say this. It's interesting that you pick Suarez. I mean, yeah, I know that people like him and stuff, but if there's a guy who's, this is rough, like to say.
Right, contractually, it makes sense.
Yeah, these closers aren't just snap your fingers and replace them. But when you think about what you just said, that contractually it might make sense. The fact that he might leave anyway, though I don't know. And then the fact that you do have, and I realize he struggled a bit, Jason Adam and Jeremiah Estrada, I realize he struggled a bit, Adrian Morejon. Like you can do this, and maybe you also then bolster your bullpen on the back end with a different kind of trade. I don't know. But like, I don't know that that would be the biggest slap. But maybe.
You're right.
But yeah, either way, it's a punt, and or it will be seen as a punt. And I mean, look what the Tigers did last year. They gave up, man, and they made the playoffs and won a playoff series. So it's not like this automatic punt. But what I'm talking about is what would be smart is to unload some guys to get some more salary relief, combine it with the salaries that are coming off the books at the end of the year, and you set yourself up nice for next year.
You're right, because Jackson Merrill would be the biggest slap in the face, and that's not happening. But he's the cheap contract that would be very attractive for other teams. Kev, have you noticed a noticeable difference in Fernando Tatis Jr. as the power is starting to come back a little bit?
Yeah, I don't want to give too much credit last night, and I hate to be this like negative Nelly where like every question like about that's positive, I go, I don't know. But like the Padres, like the game, that was one of those games where it was like 10-6. He hits a 3-run homer off some slappy that's only in there because the team's up by 7. I'm not sure, like, I'm not taking that home run away from Toddy, but it's like, okay, all right, let's go. Let's go with some more meaningful homers. How about that? Let's go with some homers against real guys. Let's go with some early game homers, some like he did Saturday, an add-on homer. Yeah, okay, 2 homers and 10 plate appearances. That's great. Let's see some more, right? Like you went a month and a half without a homer or whatever it was, a month without a homer, a month and a half slump. Like, God, I need to see a little bit more. That's just where I'm at right now. There's high expectations for this team, and I'm not going to be like, oh, hey, 10 plate appearances. Hey, I'm like the biggest Xander Bogaerts booster there is. But people getting all excited about that, I'm like, let's see a few weeks of this. All right? That's kind of where I'm at with this team.
Kevin, if we circle back to the potential buyers, sellers, so let's just say hypothetically the Padres were to sell. Is Suarez the biggest name getting moved, or is there someone we need to watch out for?
Well, I think it's anybody who makes money. Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz. Now, Luis Ariz is going to take you packaging some stuff there, right? Like Dylan Cease would be huge. I don't know what a rental pitcher with a 4 ERA at that point, but everyone in baseball will know that if Dylan Cease is trending then that's the Dylan Cease they want. That could be their most attractive trade piece. But yeah, I mean, Suarez, a team wanting that, a closer, a contender, those are the kind of guys that get moved, they can end up getting you some pieces. Sure. I think Suarez arguably could be the biggest. Though if they're going to go Suarez, then they could easily go Dylan Cease as well. And then I say he's the biggest.
Oof. All right, Kev. We've given you enough time here.
Well, we all have said ifs, though, right?
Of course.
We're not saying, we're not saying they're sellers. Right now, they are buyers, 100% buyers on whatever today's date is. But the way it's going, they are keeping in mind that could change.
It's June 24th today, Kev, which, by the way, because of where Jupiter is in the sky, makes it the luckiest day of the year 2025. That's actually true. But, Kev, I did want to read you this from @GamecockWill69 on Twitter. He listed his top 10 beers. Number 10 was One More Beer. Number 9, Ballpark Beer. Number 8, Poker Beer. Number 7, Tailgate Beer. 6, Shower Beer. 5, On the Water Beer. 4, Lunch Beer. 3, Friday After Work Beer. 2, First Beer. 1, Free Beer. Do you have a favorite beer?
Well, Fridays no longer exist for me in the sense of the Friday meaning the end of the work week. But, man, those were good. Those were good back in the day. Come on. There's nothing like it. But On the Water Beer, big one. That's a good one because that means you're on the water, right?
And I do know that Kevin Acee, when he disappears from the zeitgeist of the world, he does go to a place where there's water.
Yes. So that's a big one. I love One More, though I no longer am that guy at my age. I'm no longer One More.
Oh, Kev, left. Come on. We've thrown back a couple of whiskeys before. I know you're a One More guy.
But I love the concept of the Friday After Work one. I love the concept.
Yeah. What is that for you now? Is that like a 13-game road trip and you finally get a day off and you just have the One More or the Friday-ish?
That's lose game 5 of the NLDS.
Oh, that is a painful one, and you just had that happen to you not that long ago.
Yeah. That's let me tell you, from my perspective, look, by the time that you've gone 8.5 months of virtually every day, and you've lived the ups and downs, and you've chronicled it, and you've dealt with all the stuff. You're bought in. You're like, my team might as well go to the World Series here now. That'd be kind of fun to cover, right? Like, and the fan base would be excited. You get excited. But like, once you're done and like you're a couple days past it, you're like, okay, cool. Because it's been 8.5 months. So that's definitely my equivalent of like 100 Fridays. Yeah, that's why it's resonating.
So for you, Kev, was the 2 years ago when the Padres missed out on the postseason and had the disaster, the fallout, you wrote the huge article with the Manny Machado, the Bob Melvin, AJ Preller, or last year where it's game 5, which beer tasted better?
After 23 was such a slow melt, as in like, okay, season's over. I've dealt with all this stuff. Okay, postmortem. Oh boy, what's going to happen with Bob? Okay, I felt like that was like never over, right? The drama. Then, here it goes. Who's going to be the new manager? Kind of knew it was going to be Schilt, but like, hey, here we go. All this search. That just felt like it's when it is suddenly, and there's not going to be any staffing changes. And it's, oh my gosh, this team is good enough to go, right? To go all the way. And boom, it's over. And especially the way it was, right? That hit hard. Yeah. And so that's one where you need to process for a couple days. Cause like, you don't know, like I knew October 1st, leaving Chicago, that was the end of my traveling for a while and I was going to be home and it was over. Right. That was 2023. Last year, you don't know. It takes you a couple days, man, to like decompress. And then it's kind of like, okay, all right. It's over. Wow, that's weird.
I remember we had a bunch of live broadcasts set up for the NLCS. Like it was going. It was go time. We were out there, and then it just ends. It's sudden. Kev, thank you for your time, man. Kept you a little longer today. Hope that's okay.
It always is. Yeah, we had a good talk. All right, guys.
All right. Kevin Acee.
Kevin Acee on San Diego Sports 760. Brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. The Players Place.
Good stuff from Kevin, as always. What you got?
Kevin seems worn out.
He seems a little worn out. I think, dude, this team is all 2-run games.
My man needs to get a little nap in.
You see, Jim Russell had a great tweet out today, which you know how rarely I say something like that. But if you took out the 21-0 win that San Diego had against Colorado, you know what their run differential is on the year?
What is it?
0.
Well, that's the thing. They don't. That's the biggest difference with this team.
They win by 2, they lose by 1.
Is they don't swing the bat well, which is odd because you look at the top 4, top 5, and you put that up there with a lot of lineups in the MLB. And the pitching was so money for the first while of the season that you looked at it and you go, they were kind of, the bullpen was clearly this far into the season covering up for a lot of mishaps in the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah. All right. Let's give away some Billy Idol tickets. How about that? Pair of tickets to go see Billy Idol to celebrate Live Nation's $30 ticket this summer. It's going to be Tuesday, September 23rd at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Make it a summer full of live music with $30 concert tickets to 1,000+ shows. On sale now at livenation.com/ticket to summer. Caller number 7. Let's give those away right now. 877-767-4760. We'll wrap this thing up. Get you ready for John and Jim, plus read a text that's putting Sammy on blast. Coming up next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Well, that's about it for us today. John and Jim are going to be taking over at 2:00. Fun chat with Kevin Acee. Went on a little longer, but that is interesting. The life of a beat reporter. Like once your season's done, the immediacy it comes down to, because you really are living with the team essentially for the entire baseball year, which is a slog. Like Kevin Acee was talking about, 8.5 months, and then it just ends with one game 5 where the team scores 0 runs.
I'm sure he's like on the first flight to Greece or something right when it's done.
No, Kevin does disappear, and he does disappear somewhere driving distance, and he's gone for a few months.
So you got a big trip starting. Are you heading out tonight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you got big taping tomorrow.
Yeah, we're doing the On the Air with Sully and Little Tommy show tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I believe. I think the studio audience is filled up. Otherwise, I'd give out that email one more time. But we're doing that tomorrow. And then Jay Riff is going to be filling in here on San Diego Sports 760. And then my wife and I are jumping in the car with our little dog, Brock, and we are driving in the middle of the night tomorrow. So we don't have any shot of hitting any traffic whatsoever on the way to Merced, California, where we'll be for a night, and then Tahoe, and then San Luis Obispo. And then it's going to be a fun little trip.
Okay. I'm excited for it. You guys send me some pics of those beards out on the lake there.
I will send you maybe a video of me wake surfing if you're lucky.
Oh,
depending on the lake.
I think our listeners would love to see a video of it. I'll text Kendall. I don't know if I have her number, but I got to get that so I can get the real video of you face planting and then probably yakking once you hit the water face first.
Dude, I kind of grew up doing stuff like that. I know how to wake surf.
You know how to wake surf.
Yes. Send you pictures.
I think our listeners would love to see that backed up.
I mean,
you also thought you were going to destroy J-Riff on the basketball court, and that didn't really work out well.
Okay, this might be a similar situation because I think the last time I was consistently wake surfing, I was down about 30 pounds from where I am right now. So it might be a little tougher to get up on the board these days, considering fatness. You know what I mean?
858 says Sammy Rogers the top 15 quarterback last year. Do you have to be in the top 5 to be good? Is that a great QB by your standards? No, you don't have to be a top 5 to be a good quarterback, but I'm just saying Aaron Rodgers was supposed to come in and be the savior. He's supposed to come in and be the savior of Pittsburgh.
And he ruptured his Achilles. He wasn't ready.
He's not. I would not consider Rodgers a top 15 quarterback anymore. Even if he padded some stats at the end of the year, I don't think Rodgers is that anymore. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but that's just me.
Jason Tatum's going to be out like all of next season because he ruptured his Achilles. Aaron Rodgers was barely ready to go by the start of last season. By the end of the year, he was turning on.
Maybe if he did less darkness retreats, he would have been ready.
All right, Sammy, I'll see you in a week and a half, man. You have fun brother. With all these people. Coach Kinsera is going to be filling in. Frankie Vizzle is going to be filling in. Alan Sleewa is going to be filling in. Big Rich and TD are going to be filling in. You got a lot of fun coming up over the next week and a half.
We're going to miss you, buddy.
I'll see y'all later. John and Jim next.